Welcome back to KTN News Center. It is exactly 10:25 a.m. here on News Center this morning, and our focus is on matters education for the better part of the remaining time before I wind up News Center. But just before I introduce my guests, when you're talking about matters education in the country, the assessment tests that were being done for the better part of last week and the importance it's going to play on the national examinations, let me just give you a teaser of the next guest I'll be talking to, and I'm talking about the Central Organization of Trade Union Assistant Secretary General, that is Mr. Benson Okwara. He's already on standby. He'll be talking to us about that high cost of living. What is their stand when it comes to the workers of this country, and the high fuel prices that will have actually an adverse effect on this sector. But then let me bring in my guest for this time, matters education in the country. We're talking about the grade 4 assessment test that has been ongoing since March 8th, and it enters its final week today. And of course, the questions are abound on the cost and the mode of administering the exams. Now, teachers are reporting challenges with the education portal, and according to the task force report on the implementation of the CBC, the exams will account for 20% of the score in grade 6. Now, some parents claim the assessment is too costly and inconveniencing teachers, say uploading and downloading assessment tools and outcomes to the NEC portal has become a major challenge. And to understand this, we are now joined in studio by Bonface Mboya, a teacher at Molem Creek Premium School. I hope I pronounced that name properly. Molem Creek Premium School. Mr. Mboya, thank you so much for joining us here on KTN News Center this morning. I got it right? Thank
you so much. It is Molem Creek Premier School.
Oh, Premier.
Yes.
Okay, but I got the first one right.
You've got the first one right. Thank you very much.
Okay, I believe my English teacher did not waste their time in teaching me English.
No. The teacher was perfect.
All right, thank you so much. But then now let's talk about this assessment tests that were, they began for the last week on Monday, and they're supposed to end this week. So far, according to you, Mr. Mboya, you're a teacher. How different are these assessment tests from the usual tests that were done before the new curriculum was introduced in the country?
Thank you so much, Brenda. The assessment that is ongoing, and we are almost coming to an end of it towards the end of this week. We call it an assessment instead of calling it examination, because this is a word that was brought by the new curriculum stakeholders, that is the CBC. Mm-hmm. CBC calls examination an assessment, and the assessment that is ongoing is called formative assessment. The formative assessment, as it was played prior, that it will constitute of 20%. But there is one thing that all of us need to understand here, that we have the facilitators who, in 844, we used to call them teachers, but in CBC, we call them facilitators. Now, the facilitators have been given the tasks. There is that disarticulation that has been brought about by the Kenya National Examination Council, which is referred to as the CA. CA means the classroom assessment. And the classroom assessment was supposed to be developed by the teachers and then administered by the same facilitators. Mm-hmm. Afterward, they were to report or transfer the report in the progress record. Mm-hmm. Progress record is one of the examples, tools of what we call the professional documents.
All right. So what does this assessment test entail?
The assessment test, it entails the tests or the tasks in various learning areas, which earlier we used to call them the subjects. So all the learning areas that are ongoing, that the grade 4 are supposed to be taking place in, they are being tested there. But now, outside there, Brenda, very many schools have got challenges. Mm-hmm. And not all, when I say very many, not all schools have the challenges. We may talk or discuss about the challenges that maybe we have encountered when we are taking the assessment. Yes.
All right. And I like the way you've actually put it, you explained it to our viewers very well, what the assessment tests mean, how different it's been, it has been from the previous tests that have been done, and also what it entails. But then of a major concern to parents and some education stakeholders, as much as this assessment test has been introduced, teachers were taken through, this whole process. Some are still having a problem uploading and downloading, the assessment tests.
Oh, thank you very much. Where the problem comes in is in the integrated ICT. There are those schools without effective ICT, and there are those schools with effective ICT. Now, for those schools that do not have the computers that they can use to download, upload, and maybe print the assessment tools, are the ones that have that problem. But what all the facilitators are supposed to be aware of is that despite the fact that the schools might have the problem with the ICT, to me, I believe that as a facilitator or a teacher or a president that's a school, we should know in prior that an assessment tool has been sent to the NEC portal, and then we do the downloading in prior.
So this, when you talk about being informed prior and downloading in prior,
yes,
are you saying that teachers have not been informed, they're just told on that particular day the assessment test is here, you need to download it?
No. Teachers, even if you are informed today, there is a saying that goes, once a teacher, always a teacher. And all teachers must be prepared. The teachers who are supposed to be facilitating the CBC, actually there is a big distinction between those teachers and the teachers who used to teach in 844. Reason being, these teachers are supposed to be very much innovative, creative, and they should be teachers who think on walking.
But then, Mr. Mboya, it begs the question, why are teachers who've been trained on the CBC still having a problem in accessing this portal? Yet, this is not the first time that they're interacting with the portal that they're supposed to be using to get this assessment test.
Thank you so much, Brenda. The problem comes where there is poor interpretation of the basic education curriculum framework, which is the roadmap to competency-based curriculum. So the teachers, in as much as they are being trained, but there is no clear clarification on the basic education curriculum framework. And remember, teachers have the problem when it comes to implementation of the intensive and extensive CBC, whereby most of the teachers, however much they are being trained, they don't follow the 3 pillars of the BECF, that is Basic Education Curriculum Framework.
Right.
The pillars that, that they're supposed to be following, one is value. CBC focuses much on the value, and there are around 8 values that have been mainstreamed in the CBC. One of them is integrity. What teachers are supposed to be instilling or nurturing, that kind of value that they're supposed to be nurturing in the learners, it should be an indefatigable integrity and dignity, so that when these learners come outside there, or when they will be transiting to grade 5, at least there is that particular value that should be instilled.
All right. So Mr. Mboya, parents and in short, Kenyans have been hearing about assessment tests, for the better part of last week, and this week they'll be talking about that. But what is the importance of this assessment test to learners? Especially when it comes to the national examinations.
Thank you very much. I began by saying that the formative assessment that is ongoing is divided into 2 variances. We have the SBA, that is the school-based assessment, which is supposed to be developed by the Kenya National Examination Council and then sent to the teachers. Then we also have the CA, which I said, the classroom assessment, which is supposed to be developed by the teachers. So the CBA constitutes only of 10% of the formative assessment, the CA 10%. So the formative assessment that the learners are doing today, it is very much important for them because it is what will accumulate to summative assessment that will be carried out in grade 6 as they will be transiting to junior secondary.
All right. And as we wind up in a minute, you're talking about, it's good you've mentioned integrity in a minute, Mr. Mboya.
Yes.
You know, the integrity of these exams is very important. And since this will account for the final exams, don't you think teachers will take advantage in terms of favoring their students so that in case they fail on the national exams, they'll have a booster with this assessment test?
Thank you very much. Let me tell you, Brenda, the Kenya National Examination Council, in affiliation with the Ministry of Education, they are very, very much intelligent when it comes to the implementation of CBC. And I love what they're doing because those teachers who might think of colluding with the learners to come up with the deceitful result by the end, it will not take place. Because CBC focuses on the skills and abilities. So I fail to understand where the teachers will be colluding on the skills of a particular child and the abilities of that child in coordination with the competencies that are supposed to be imparted onto those particular children. So definitely it won't work.
Okay, it won't work. I like that assurance. Yes. I like the assurance that that won't work if you're planning to make your student pass. It won't work because it will be about the abilities and the competency of the learner. Thank you so much, Mr. Bonface Mboya, a teacher at Molem Creek Premier School, talking to us about that issue of assessment test. But then let's go back to our top story. And our top story this morning has been about the high cost of living, you know, for Kenyans, following that announcement by IPRA